Yo, good evening, y'all. Good evening. Welcome to another Radio Nation Unlimited. I'm your midweight talent. Salute to everybody in the chat, guys. Listen, the press conference is on right now. I'm gonna play the press conference for you guys. I was planning on doing just the jumping into the show, but since the Raiders are on, John Spych is speaking. We are going to play you guys some of the presser, and then we're gonna get into the show today, guys. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody in the chat. The body, get wasted with your brother, wasted. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Tell a friend and tell a freaking friend, man. Hold on. Hold on. You know the old man screwing up there. But John Spych is speaking as we speak, everybody. Salute to everybody in the chat.
That comes along with it that was different from your previous stops as you grew into this?
That's a deep question. I was fortunate
John Spych
in
on
Tampa
everybody.
that Jason gave me such exposure to everything that we did there. I was right next to him for most of it. So I think for me, the big difference is that ultimately somebody has to make a decision. And when, on the personnel side, a lot of times in harmony with Pete, it comes down to me and him. And so, the hardest or the most different thing for me yesterday probably was in the day before was when we talked to the guys that we unfortunately had to let go. That that's a different conversation that I've had in the past. In the past, it was more like maybe I was the person just delivering the news, but I think there was an understanding looking at him, be like, you're part of the main reason why. And so I think there's a responsibility in that and something I don't take lightly. But I think I learned about us and what we're trying to do as the Raiders, that we had great communication and we were able to solve any problems that kind of were laid out in front of us.
John, obviously, Jacoby had a trade request, but despite that,
wasted.
no holdout
What's your brother
situation,
wasted?
still coming to practice. What do you think that says about his professionalism, and how do you assess his value to this team?
Well, Jacoby's a consummate professional, and Jacoby and I have had a lot of great conversations since I've gotten here about many different things. And, I'm excited that he's here and he's a Raider and he's out in the field working hard today. And I've not seen him do anything but that since I've been here. He's a professional. I think he really values being a Raider. He has a lot of respect for this game, and I think he only knows how to go about it one way, which is to give his best when he's out there.
John, what was your thought process, if you could elaborate at all, on not bringing Tommy Millott onto the practice squad?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Tommy, and there was a lot of hard decisions that we made the last couple of days, and ultimately our responsibility, coach and myself, is to put the best 53 and then 17 after that, and to get ready to win football games. And there's always a development part of that too, but there's a reality sometimes that who is most ready and who is furthest along and who could help this team win the most. And ultimately we made some decisions that didn't include him for now. When I talked to him yesterday, he's a great kid. He worked really, really hard to try to become an NFL wide receiver after being an FCS quarterback. I don't think people understand quite how hard that is.
He's talking about Tommy Millott, ladies and
unfortunately,
gents.
this is not a field where there's a lot of patience all the time. And I still believe in Tommy. I think he's got a really bright future, and I really hope that he finds a place where he can find maybe a little more patience from a roster standpoint. The other thing I would say too, and this is to compliment, Alex Guerrero, Chris Cortez, and our entire athletic training staff, we were very, very healthy. And a lot of times those decisions get made for you. There's a lot of times where I've been in a wide receiver room where you have 15 guys, and next thing you know, you're down to 10, and it's not that hard to make a decision. We had to make a decision between all the wide receivers that we brought to camp. They were all healthy at the end. So unfortunately, it didn't work out here for Tommy right now, but I'm never saying never to him, and I wish him the best wherever he ends up.
Amari Cooper, was that kind of indicative of just maybe how young it was behind the first three guys, and just wanted to get more experience in there?
Yeah, I mean, we're always going to try to find guys at different times that can help our team win. And, I think
we got over 300 in the room.
The idea of playing rookies. I think
Wasted
that's a
your brother
constant
wasted.
tug and war between coaches and personnel
Spivey.
people sometimes. And I think it's really easy for me to sit up here and say, play the rookies, because I don't have to call the plays and coach them up and, get the quarterback to feel like they can trust them. And So we just constantly monitored who was available. And the more we talked about it, and then the Mari was still there, and the way we saw our roster developing and seeing Dante and Jack come along, we started to have some conversations with Mari about coming back to Raider Nation. And, he was super interested right away. And obviously we made the move because we felt like he made us better. And it's been really cool to see him out there the last couple of days. He's somebody I've had a lot of respect for a long time. I can still remember in 2016 in Tampa when some of you guys may have been there.
Oh yeah.
When he shredded us. And, that feels like a long time ago, probably for both me and him, but a lot of respect for him. I'm glad he's a Raider right now.
You have a player like that who, has been unsigned at this point, hasn't been on another team going through OTAs and training camp. What work goes into making sure that player is ready to go? You sign him, and then what gives you confidence about Amari specifically that he still has something left in the tank?
Well, he played good football for a team that went to the AFC Championship last year too, and his ability to make unique catches is something that's always stood out for me. And whether or not you're the fastest guy in the world or you're not the fastest guy in the world, you're going to have to make contested catches at this level, and he's always been able to do that. And he had many of those last year. In terms of getting him ready to play, that's Alex Guerrero and them are having they onboard him. They kind of assess where he's at physically. Obviously, he has not been in a camp, so we cannot have an expectation that he's in tip-top shape and ready to play football. But we have a plan for him to bring him along, and that plan will more than likely include him being a big part of the game plan in New England in 10 days or whatever it is from now.
John, now that Geno Smith has, been in the building since April, just what have been your impression of him, how he's acclimated himself as one of the leaders on the team?
Raiders made a move at left tackle.
Everything we
We're gonna
wanted
get
him to
into
be.
it after the press.
He's a hard worker. He's competitive. When he comes out to practice, it's with conviction, and he's out there for a reason. It's not something that he's just out there throwing a football around. I mean, he is detailed. He's been a leader for us. He likes to mix it up with Max, which is a fun thing to see too, because I always love a quarterback that won't back down from people like Max, and he can throw the football. I mean, I've always admired his arm, but when you stand close to him, I think you guys have been out there now to see it and really see him throw a football. It's pretty special the way that he can spin it. But I think a lot of us knew that the person has been as advertised, but again, not a surprise because Coach knew him so well.
With that tug of war sometimes between playing rookies or coaches maybe wanting more veteran players. When you're sitting in your chair, how difficult is that battle between trying to develop a guy and like trying to find a guy that might help you win next Sunday?
I wouldn't say it's a battle, but you just got to know what the guys are capable of, and you don't want to throw rookies into situations, or really anybody, that they're not totally prepared for. And people progress at different levels, and wide receiver is a really hard job to master. It requires a lot athletically, it requires a lot mentally, and it requires a quarterback to trust you too. I mean, I've been around some really great ones, and if they didn't trust you, you were never going to get the ball ever. Yeah. And they were pretty vocal about that too. So
Tommy,
Jack and Dante have both been doing really well, and bringing in somebody with Amari is somebody that can take a little bit of the pressure off of them, so we don't have to rely so much on them. And also another really good player that's had a really great career that they can rely on for advice and can help to teach them what it really looks like.
Broadly, I guess on my question.
Their Mumford was waived. He doesn't have the 4 years to be cut.
You have to plan for next week, next year, down the road. Like, how difficult are those decisions?
Well, it's challenging because you don't want to wake up, a month, 2 months, a year from now and not have pieces in place in the future too. But you can't do that and just plan for the future and neglect today and the next week and the next game. And so, I think as you have more experience in the job that I have, and Coach Carroll obviously has been doing it a long time, and the people we have around us, I don't know if I have a great answer for you, Adam, but just there's a gut to it where it's like, this guy, after the conversations and how he's coming along and his mental makeup and his intelligence and his work ethic, like, how much is he ready for? How much can we expect? And, not that they're not going to take losses. Everybody takes losses and gets beat down and gets beat in this league. Everybody, even the best ones. But their ability to bounce back from it and be prepared for that situation and know that, like, I can get up and I can keep going is paramount. And it is a nuanced challenge every year, but it is one that we have to be really good at, because we want to win today and win tomorrow and the next year.
That's right. That's right. Listen, guys, breaking news. The Raiders have signed Stone Forsythe, a left tackle, replacing Thayer Munford. We will break that move down.
I have a lot of respect for the player. He's
500 in the
15-10 as a
room.
starter.
Get wasted.
He's had opportunities to play. He won a Super Bowl last year, so he knows what it looks like. I think I said before, he's a good athlete. He's not too dissimilar from Geno in a lot of ways in the way he can move and the offense that we want to run. I think sometimes you can get two different types of quarterbacks, and it becomes a big challenge for offense coordinator for Chip to kind of match those two up and have the backup quarterback ready to go should something happen, in the middle of a game.
Hey, your
But with
bar
Kenny
tabs,
and the way
everybody.
he kind of mirrors Geno in a lot of ways. That just makes it a little bit easier in what is already a very hard job. And again, he's won in this league. He's somebody we have a lot of respect for. We had great character reports coming with him coming out of Pitt a bunch of years ago, and we just felt like he was a good ad for our culture and for our team.
Yeah,
Let's go Willie, Steve, and then Vinny.
John, we could just clarify, just based off your comments about keeping an eye on Amari, always keeping an eye where he's at. Is it just pure coincidental that the news of Jacoby requesting a trade, that they were roughly the same day?
That's right. Press him.
Did it have anything to do with that in terms of the news breaks that he requested trade? So let's go lock him up in case something doesn't happen with Jacoby.
My official answer and the absolute truth is that it was pure coincidence. Yes. It
So
may
that
not look
means
like
he's
that, but it was
lying like
absolute
a
coincidence. We
goddamn
had been
rug.
talking to Amari for a while, just making sure it was the right fit and we could work the right contract out.
John, you mentioned a couple times this afternoon about being on the same page. 9 of your 11 draft picks made this roster, this 53-man roster. What does that say about your ability to build the staff you did build here and have the communication lines open among everybody to come to consensus on every player that you did draft and to see them at this point make your roster?
I think it started with Coach and I being on the same page from, the get-go last year. And we had a lot to get accomplished in a short period of time when he and I both got here. Work with his staff, work together, try to sort through the different, scouting reports that I had, my background and what I would look for in draft picks and all that. And, ultimately we knew from the start that we were looking for the same kind of football player, the same kind of makeup. And then, I thought Coach and I brought that to life in the draft. And, we've talked from the start about, building and fostering a culture that thrives on competition, and that if you can't meet that challenge every day, if it's too much from you, you won't have a very good chance to be here long term. And
Compete.
When we
baby.
drafted those guys, I think I can remember sitting up here, whatever it was, 4 months ago, and saying that, we'll see how they do physically, but I was convicted that they were the right kind of person that could survive in this culture. And I think 9 of those guys making that is a testament to that, because it was a hard training camp and it was a lot for all of them, but they showed up every day because they love to play and love to compete. And, they're the right kind of people we want to build this program on.
We love it.
The
Love
NFL
it.
changed the rules a few years ago where that practice squad, you could elevate guys, to your game day roster.
Yeah.
How important
Got
is
over
that
600 in the room. Get
kind
wasted
of
with
the
your
team
brother.
building here? I look at a guy like Terrell Edmonds, who was taking first team reps, at safety. Does he kind of fit into that mix and that mold of something that you can activate on game day?
Yeah, it's a great tool to get the right 48, 49 people up on game day. It creates a bigger challenge. It's been a new thing to learn, and there's a lot of nuances to it, and it's almost like chess a little bit. You got to think ahead about how you want to do it and not waste elevations and who's eventually going to sign to the active roster. But, it helps in a lot of different ways. It helps people like Terrell Edmonds. He did a lot of really great things. I told him this yesterday, a lot of really great things in 2 weeks, more than you would expect somebody that was nowhere on August 1st. And, years ago, it might have, without having that tool, might have precipitated him not being here. But now it's like, well, we can keep working with him, and he can keep building, and we can see if he can be part of the game plan in a week.
John, is there, can you identify maybe 1 or 2 players that you can really think of that you came into OTAs and you and your front office might have had kind of like a blank slate?
Damn right he
Didn't know
could.
much about that player.
Salute
that
everybody
you
out
really
there.
had to
Get
go out your way
wasted.
to really earn a spot on this team.
That's a great question. I wouldn't say that I didn't know a lot about them. But the 2 guys that initially come to mind are Will Putnam and Dylan Laube. I knew a lot about those guys, but when we talk about what it means to be a Raider and to compete every day and to show up
Salute
with
to
energy and
Dylan Laube,
positivity
everybody.
and start where
Salute
they
and
started,
congratulations to him.
which was not getting second team reps, and just work every day and challenge themselves every day to show up and do the right thing, and then do the right thing, and then get an opportunity to run with the twos and make plays and be a great teammate. And it just stood out. It's just one of those things that Coach and I talked about that you just could not deny. And those are the exact kind of two people that we want here. And, Will offers a lot of versatility as an interior lineman. He proved some value as a center, but also to play guard. And, if you're going to go to game day with 8 offensive linemen, the value in those guys on the inside is that they can play all 3 of those spots. And Will proved that to us. And he did it day after day. And then with Dylan, just a relentless drive to be a good teammate and make plays. And he had good kickoff returns, and he's making tackles on kickoff and on punt team. And, if you're paying attention to the right kind of people, you just can't deny that. And at the end of the day, I don't really care where any of them came from, whether they were a draft pick or a high money free agent signing or an undrafted free agent or a 7th round pick. I just care if they're good football players who can be good teammates. And I know Coach feels the same. And those 2 guys, I thought in spades, kind of exemplified that this training camp.
You've obviously put in so much work to get here. You talked about all the mentors you had along the way to prepare you for this, but sliding over that one chair where you're not giving advice or your thoughts anymore, you're the guy making the final decision and standing there. I guess, what did you learn about yourself in this process the last couple of weeks?
I don't know that I learned it, but that I'm okay living in that space. That hard decisions are okay. I think we've all, probably everybody in this room too, you've all been through a lot. I've been through a lot in my life. And at the end of the day, this is a job and this is football. And I take it really serious. I want to have a great team. I want Raider Nation to be proud. I want the players to get everything they deserve out of it. But, I wanted this job for a lot of different reasons, but it's because I'm not afraid to make tough and critical decisions. And I don't think that I'm going to get them all right. I've lived through getting things wrong, and the older you get, I think you all realize you get things wrong, but that you'll be okay. But to make tough choices with conviction, and then be self-critical and open-minded and aware enough to realize, oh, I got this one right, and this is why I got it right, and this one wrong, and this is why I got it wrong. And I'm sure we got some wrong over the past month, and we'll see. But I can promise you I'll learn from those, and I'll only get better because of that.
Yeah, all right, listen.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, that was our GM, John High Stakes Spytech. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody. This is a most splendiferous occasion, everybody. A most splendiferous occasion. There's a lot going on in Raider Nation. We have over 700 in the room. Get wasted with your brother wasted. Tell a friend and tell a friend. That was John Spytech, ladies and gents. John Spytech. So, guys, listen. As you guys have heard, Thayer Munford has been waived. Thayer Munford has been waived. The Raiders, in his place, have brought in the 6'8", gigantic lineman, Stone Forsythe. Now, this is a guy who was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. This is clearly a Pete Carroll move. He was drafted in the 6th round in 2021. He signed his 4-year rookie deal with Seattle. Then he went on to the New York Giants. In 2025, he was just released as part of the final roster cuts. He was out there twisting in the wind. This is a 6'8", 307-pound guy. He played college football at, the University of Florida. Big fella, man. Big fella. Has not had a lot of success in this league, but this is clearly a Pete Carroll move. Big developmental guy. So, he kind of checks some of the boxes of what they want. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Listen, I want these guys to get as many of their people in here as they need to. Because at the end of the day, the biggest problem that we've had in Raider Nation is that we have people that are coming in trying to clean up the messes of other past regimes because we've been moving on so much. And I want Pete to have everybody he needs. I want him to have everybody he needs, man. I want him to have everybody he needs. Listen, so we got the big fella in here. Thayer Munford has been jettisoned. He is out of here. Happy trails, Thayer Munford. I was pretty surprised that he even made the roster, if I'm being honest, right? I was surprised that he has made the roster. There were a lot of people who were shocked. I thought he was going to be in the first thing smoking out of here. You know, and if we're being honest, you know, Thayer Munford is one of the reasons why, you know, Aiden O'Connell went down with that catastrophic injury, because, you know, it was like a jailbreak every time he was out there. So salute to him. Salute to him. Now, John Spych touched on a few things, right? You know, he touched on the Amari Cooper thing, and we're going to get into that. We don't want to move too fast here because we got a lot of show for you guys. But, yo, before I get into this, man, I want to give some shout-outs, man. Salutations. My guy Hug Dees is in the place. Martin is in the place. Mando is in the place. Half-Breed is in here. Kenny Clark, the Flying Wonderful. Yvette Niles is in the place to be. Oh, my God, man. I mean, this is a packed house here. We got almost 900 in here, man. It's unbelievable, man. Now, look, there were some reports that, you know, when the Amari Cooper deal was made. Now, John Spych alluded to it, that John Spych and Pete Carroll were not on the same page. And I'm going to be honest with you. I tend to believe it. You know, I also tend to believe is this was a move that was getting kicked around, but I think the urgency changed when you had that situation, and John Spych categorically denies it, and he's supposed to. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think that move was made because of the Jacoby Myers thing. And Jacoby Myers is a pro's pro, but they have to hedge their bet just in case a deal comes across their purview that's going to make them actively move, right? Now, listen, there's no secret that Pete Carroll has been a big proponent of Amari Cooper's talent. He's been trying to get Amari Cooper on board a long time. And I think a lot of the reason why this move happened, and Amari Cooper alluded to that during the presser when they were interviewing him the other day. You guys were on when we were watching it. Amari Cooper is here because of Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll believes in him, and Pete Carroll really likes Amari Cooper. But throughout the building, and Vinny Bonsier, I can't take credit for this. Vinny Bonsier was one of the people who spoke on the fact that, you know, John Spych had to get his arm twisted a little bit here. You know what I mean? They are really big, especially Spych being the guy that drafted these guys. He is really big on developing these young guys in the building. And I don't think that the Amari Cooper move was something that he was initially fond of, because he doesn't want to take snaps away from guys like Jack Besh. And it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense, right? But, you know, this is the issue that we have in hand here, right? You know, John Spych is trying to be here for a long time. Pete Carroll is in his mid-70s. And I think Pete Carroll has a sense of urgency to win. And I know Spych does too, but not at the behest of doing what needs to be done. And I'm hoping that that's not something that is going to be a thing going forward. They seem to be working pretty darn well together, man. They seem to be working pretty darn well together. We're going to go over the roster. You know, we're going to go over some of the moves that were made. I think Aiden O'Connell was moved today to the IR, which is good. You know, they brought back Cam Miller, you know, and they put him on the practice squad. We're going to go over the practice squad today. You know, we got our backup, and we're going to keep rolling along, right? But the thing is, I love John Spy's thinking, because he's thinking for the future. Pete Carroll, a lot of the times, is thinking for the now, right? And if you look at some of the moves that have been made, some of the moves that have been made are a tad bit short-sighted in a way, because of a guy like Pete. I think the fact that they haven't been more active in the cornerback market is something that gives me a little trepidation. It really worries me a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. It worries me a little bit. And we've talked about this a long time, man. But there's a mutual respect between these two. And I don't think you have a situation where you have these two guys throwing each other under the bus here. And I love it, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Get wasted with your brother Wasted. Guys, get y'all questions in. This thing is rocking and effing rolling right here. Things are rocking and rolling here. Yeah, Silver and Facts. Yes, Munford was in, and he's been unceremoniously blocked Blocked. They have thrown their muffin out the damn door. We got over 900 in the room, man. My guy Jackknife. I wonder what will happen to Tommy Mellott because it was a waste of a draft pick to just let him go. Look, throughout this league, there have been guys that have made it being 6th-round picks. There have been guys that have made it being 5th-round picks, 6th-round, 7th-round picks. But routinely around this league, there are piles and piles and piles of players that are drafted in the 5th and the 6th and the 7th round that don't make the team. It is just a fact of NFL life. So listen, they took the swing on Mellott. There's only so many snaps to go around. You know, he had to switch positions. He was the developmental guy. Hopefully, you know, he clears waivers. He did, you know, and they can bring him in. I'm going to be honest with you. And shout out to Bodega Waste that he has been freed from the gulags. Yeah. And listen, him with that profile picture of me is definitely going to go back to the gulags. I am never bringing another Bodega Wasted comment up again. He is about to be blocked. He goes, you think the gulags is your ally? I was born in it, molded in it. I didn't see the chat till I was already a man. And by then it was nothing but blinding. Salute to Bodega Wasted, man. My guy say, this is the problem. Why are we in a rebuild with a 73-year-old coach? You just gave a 34-year-old QB a new contract that makes no sense to be bolder in free agency, man. Listen, I want to be honest with you. There is not a surplus of guys that know how to get it done at this level as far as the head coach. I think the Raiders have gone through a lot of uncertainty. I think the Raiders have gone through a lot of bull crap over the few years with guys who claim that they know how to get it done but don't. The one thing that we know about Pete Carroll is that Pete Carroll knows how to get it done. He is a definite. So no matter what timeline he's on, right, as long as he's going to be here longer than 2 years, you know, that's enough to get things turned around. And I'm all right with them bringing in Pete Carroll. But the problem is that who do you serve in that prison? Because the biggest problem that we've had with the Raiders is people having too much power in places and spaces where their emotions don't have any kind of guardrails. You know, I like the dynamic here. I like the fact that John Spych, and he showed you in his press conference that he is clearly the boss here. Shout out to my guy, man. Excelli Raider with the $2 slapperoonie. Pete just being careful. We in the first stage of a rebuild. Listen, I don't necessarily view this as a rebuild. I view this as a retool. If I'm being honest. You know, Pete Carroll doesn't have enough time to rebuild the team. But the thing with the modern NFL, you can really, really turn an organization around in one freaking year. You really, really can, man. You can turn, if you make the right moves, you can turn an organization around in 1 year, man. And Mike Down he said, the 73-year-old coach is in better shape than most people in this room. He is, and that's great, right? But at the end of the day, he is still in his mid-70s, right? So listen, a good program in the NFL, a great program, the best case scenario is when you have a coach for 6, 7, 8, 10 years. I don't think we're going to have that kind of fortune with Pete. Pete's 73, man. He's 73. So I think you're probably looking at a 3-year project here, right? And to me, it's more so about making us consistent winners and in the picture to be able to compete for a Super Bowl, as opposed to just going and winning the Super Bowl right off the bat. Would I love that? Yeah. Am I always in the market for that? Yeah. But going from 4-13 to the Super Bowl in 1 year is crazy, right? So I think that John Spych needs to kind of keep the guardrails on Pete a little bit. I definitely do. Zay is very down on Pete Carroll. He goes, I hope you're right, OG, but I'm going to say this. There's a reason why the Seahawks got better when he left. I just think his defensive philosophy is a little dated, and he hasn't had a top defense in years. I hope you're wrong. Well, a lot of it is the talent, and a lot of it is when you have two entities in a building that wield as much power as a guy like a Pete Carroll or a guy like a John Schneider. We're going back to Seattle. These are two guys that wield a whole heck of a lot of power, right? And if they're not on the same page, that's going to be indicative of the process you get on the field. You know? But bro, I don't think the Seahawks got better after Pete left, bro. He's a guy who got that team to 2 Super Bowls, man. Put some respect on Pete Carroll's name, bro. Terry, what's up, man? Terry McCaffrey. I believe Pete's going to be here for 4 years, not 3. He'll hand the keys off after the 4th year. Either which way, I hope however long he's here, we're winning. Super Bowl. Obtain mile markers first. Yeah, the best in the West. Make the playoffs. Then let's see about a Super Bowl. Until then, everything is speculation at best. Hot air, man. No, listen, man. I understand that. And yo, guys, become a member of the channel, man. It is the best way to support the channel. Become a member of the Wasted Talent Army, man. Salute to everybody. So, guys, look, there have been some things that have been going on in the league. I don't know if you guys heard, but Shaquille Griffin from the Seahawks has been released. I don't know if Pete is gonna, they had him in, for a workout earlier this offseason. They chose to kind of pass on him. I would hope that Pete would reconsider that and bring a vet in the building. So he is available. There will be some roster spots available. Yo, my guy, Mutation X. I wasted. Lift my spirits, man. The fans are killing it for me. All I read is negativity and complain about everything the team does. My timeline feels so political. What happened to football? Bro, it's not that anything happened to football. The thing, Mutation, is this. We live in a world where we don't have a 24-hour news cycle anymore. We have a 35-second news cycle. And then we have a medium where everybody can put their hyperbolic opinions. They can put their hyperbolic opinions online. They can put their hyperbolic opinions online. And that is really the crux of what the issue is. Everybody, it's every 5 minutes, every 5 seconds, they can put their opinions, and their opinions change with the wind, right? So you got to tune that out and surmise what you need to, bro. And then come and tap in with the people who know what's going on, right? And I will humbly say that is Raider Nation Unlimited, my brother. So let's get into Stone Forsythe, right? We got into Stone Forsythe. Now, Stone Forsythe, like I told you guys, this is a big guy, man. Came from the Florida Gators, offensive tackle. Big fella, 6'8", 307 pounds, selected by the Seahawks back in 2021, was picked up by the Giants and was cut. His father, Ray, played college football at Kent State and UCF, so it didn't come from nowhere. And, he's not a guy who's had a whole lot of success in this league, guys. He's just a big body that Pete drafted and that's familiar with Pete and played with Geno. You know what I'm saying? So let's see if this can pay dividends, him being a quality backup for us. Let's get some PFF numbers on Stone Forsythe, guys. We'll get some PFF numbers, check out his snaps and everything, and give you guys a little background on this kid, man. I mean, some people got him listed at 6'9", you know what I mean? So, I mean, golly, this is a this is a giant tackle, man. Hopefully they can develop this kid into something, man, because look, man, that is the Al Davis mold right there, man. I love when we get these bigger guys. We got over 1,000 in the room, guys. Get wasted with your brother, wasted, man. But to be honest with you, man, from what I've been seeing from Thayer Munford, it was time to turn the page. I don't want to disrespect Thayer Munford. Once a Raider, always a Raider. I don't want to disrespect Thayer Munford, but it was not working out here, to say the least, with Thayer Munford. It was not working out here, and it's time for the Raiders to turn the page and bring in a new guy to kind of develop. Whatever they were doing with Thayer Munford to develop him was not landing on him. He has not gotten any better. If anything, he's gotten a lot worse. He's gotten a lot worse. He got a lot worse. And with Forsythe, this is a guy that Pete drafted, was familiar with, and I guess he feels like the mission is not complete with his development, right? Now, Stone Forsythe has some putrid grades, as far as PFF goes, right? And we know PFF is not the gospel, but it is a good, kind of a baseline to see what kind of player you're dealing with. It is a good baseline to kind of see, what kind of guy you're getting and how many snaps he's had. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pull up, Stone Forsythe's PFF numbers, man, and we're gonna go over it, man. Hopefully to make you guys a little excited and juiced about bringing Stone Forsythe in. But you know, he played 414 snaps. He had 3 penalties. He allowed 2 sacks. He had 298 pass blocker snaps, 116 run blocker snaps, 3 penalties, 2 sacks allowed, 4 hits allowed, 35 total pressures. That's not great. It's not great. It's not great. Is what it is, right? Classic backup. So let's hope we get more out of him. Now with Thayer Munford was surprising, right? Because Thayer Munford is a guy who, you know, at times has flashed some ability. He was a guy that we figured. I mean, and these guys are essentially the same player, right? Thayer Munford's a little worse. Thayer Munford's a little worse, guys. This guy, man, had less snaps and allowed 5 sacks and almost as many hits and 10 total pressures. So, you know, look, man, this is not a world beater that we're dealing with here in Stone Forsythe, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. But it's somebody that we're turning the page on. Somebody is bring some new life into the building. And look, man, I'm cool with it. You know, a lot of people say Munford's going to do well as a guard, but it didn't look like he played well as a guard either here for us. And shout out to my guy Mutation X, man, a new member of the channel, becoming a member of the Wasted Talent Army, making the Wasted Talent Army grow in droves, man. Telling you right now, man. But listen, let's get into some of the other stuff that's been going on today, man. Now, look, I know you guys have heard. But the Micah Parsons deal. Some people said it was cap. Some people said the Raiders would never get in on it. But listen, man, we're hearing otherwise here. The Raiders were kicking the tires on Micah Parsons. And I'm going to be real with you, man. This makes me very, very hopeful, right? Because, look, the Raiders were amongst the 2 teams to call about Micah Parsons. Now, like, prior to the Trey Hendrickson situation, him agreeing to the contract, the Raiders were reportedly interested in the Bengals all-pro pass rusher, which I don't necessarily know whether that was true or not, but this is according to Benjamin Albright on X, right? The Raiders have also reached out to Cowboys' Micah Parsons, right? Dallas has had calls from several teams that include the Green Bay Packers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Benjamin Albright posted on Twitter, but the Cowboys have not had any discussions with anyone, and they have not given Parsons permission to seek out a trade with anyone. But this is the thing, man. Just as what happened with Henderson last week, the Raiders have reported interest in a blue chip pass rusher, and to me, that makes me very, very hopeful for what they're trying to do here. Like, if we're being honest, we have one of the best divisions in football, and definitely the best division as represented by quarterbacks in this division. You have the best quarterback in the league in our division. You have Justin Herbert in our division. He's one of the most talented young guys in this league. And you also have a guy in Bo Nix that looks like to be an ascending talent in this league, right? So the fact that the Raiders understand that the quarterback must go down and he must go down hard, like Al Davis always said, makes me hopeful. It makes me hopeful. I'm glad that they're out there scouring the waiver wire for pass rushers. They're out there trying to make trades for pass rushers. I love it. My guy Milko Veleka with the $2 holler, man. Heard you on the JT the Brick podcast. That's what's up. Hey, man, appreciate you, man. Yeah, definitely, man. Shout out to JT the Brick, man, for having me on. And hopefully we can continue that relationship, man. I'm a big admirer of what JT's been putting down for the nation for a long time. Salute to JT the Brick. Go over there, subscribe to JT, and tap in and support a legend in Raider Nation, man. The voice of the Raiders, man. Skylar Milstead, we need Parsons. Our cornerback room is terrible. We need another juggernaut on the defensive line. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, we do need another guy on the line. But the thing is that are we willing to pay the price, right? Are we really willing to pay the price? You know, look, when I hear some of the compensation for, Micah Parsons, right? And we've talked about this ad nauseum, guys. It's the Khalil Mack deal plus, right? It's the Khalil Mack deal plus. Plus, you're talking about adding a $40 million pass rusher, man. And Max Crosby is under contract until 2029, man. Now, Kuntz is on a 1-year deal, right? And he could be a guy that, you know, the Raiders can get in the bidding war with, but he has to hold up his end of the bargain and perform in 2025. Now, on paper, people will say that the pass rush is cool. It's not a need. But if you are a fan of this team, you guys know that once people come back from injury for the Raiders over the years, we haven't had a lot of success with that, right? And also, it's a lower extremity injury on a guy who gets cut block and has to cut. And if he's not confident in his wheels being under him, it might take into the middle of the season for Kuntz to really, really show up and show out. Now, the situation in Dallas seems like that's going to get way uglier. You know, Jerry Jones is really, really acting like Micah Parsons is a piece of his property, and I don't like it. I don't like it. He is not following the protocol. And, you know, this has been something that he tried with Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant spoke about this. Salute to Dez Bryant, man. Great follow on Twitter. Anybody out there, go follow Dez, man. I actually enjoyed Dez Bryant's tweets and stuff like that. But Dez Bryant talked about how when he was negotiating his deal, Jerry refused to talk to his agent. And I don't understand this whole handshake deal, this old good old boys nonsense. That's not professional. That is not what's supposed to happen. And that's something that if I am a player, I would sit out and trade me. There's no way. I'm not going in there and negotiating against a billionaire and I'm a player. That's why I got that's why I got representation for. We're not doing no handshake deals, man. Get the F up out of here. You know, and I really don't give a damn about the Dallas Cowboys. It's one of my besides the Chiefs and everybody out of the division, I hate the Cowboys. I hate their fans, right? But I'm going to be honest with you. Jerry Jones really, really makes you hate the Cowboys even more. Salute to my guy, James Williams, man. The crop dust extraordinaire. Pete got to Seattle in 2010, tore down and rebuilt the team and won it in 2013. Pete needs time. That's a fact. But see, this is the thing, right, with Pete. Pete definitely did his numbers, man. You know, Earl Thomas, right? You know, drafting Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, all of those guys, Bobby Wagner, Bennett, all of these guys, making the trade and bringing in Marshawn. Bringing in Marshawn Lynch was one of the major things that he's done. And it kind of is reminiscent of what he did with Geno. It's a little bit different in Seattle. You know, he brought in Geno. He brought in his guy to kind of cross off the quarterback. Now, when you start talking about, you know, how you turn a franchise around, Bill Parcells used to say it the best, locate the quarterback. And Pete has done that, right? Then he did the reverse. He went and he drafted his running back. So Pete is well on the way to trying to turn this thing around, right? The thing about it is this, though, right? We are in a very tough division, right? And it's not just the fact that we have to overcome the division. We have to overcome the quarterback of this generation. And I say this all the time, guys. I say this all the time. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And that straight line is winning a division. But when you have an all-time great quarterback in your division, it is one of the hardest things to do in sports is winning your division when you have an all-time great Hall of Fame quarterback in your division. It just doesn't happen very much. I mean, Tom Brady was in the AFC East for 20 plus years. It did not happen very much. It didn't happen very much. Now, you know, listen, when we talk about what Pete is up against, and this is parcel of the reason why, you know, I love the attitude for the Raiders kicking the tire on Micah Parsons. I love the attitude. I don't necessarily want them to give up what it will take to get Micah Parsons because, listen, and maybe this is a little Raider PTSD for me, right? A lot of this stuff for me is like, yo, every time we bring in these bigger name, big ticket players, no matter how good their health is, no matter how good their attitude is, no matter how good they've been, things kind of go awry once they get here. And I hope that this organization is changing in that prism, right? But, you know, from the Devontae Adams to the Randy Mosses of the world, to all of these guys, right, that we brought in that still has some tread left on the tire, it has not really worked very well for us. Has not worked very well for us. So, look, man. Now, listen. I trust Pete Carroll to do his job, right? Now, there's a lot of people, and I see in the chat, and let me get to some of you guys, supers here, man. Yo, my guy, the tires with the $2 smackaroni. Why do people always kick us? What we even do to you? I mean, I don't know, bro. But listen, the thing is, we need to start kicking back around here, man. I'm sick of people kicking us and us not being able to kick back. Yo, my guy, SinCal 805, send mines, bro. I don't even know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, SinCal. Love the hat wasted. Yeah. No, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. But listen, I'm going to be real with you. When you guys talk about Stone Forsythe, right? This is the way I look at it. I'm not looking for this guy to come in here and be a freaking world beater. I am not coming in here and I'm not looking for Stone Forsythe to be Anthony Munoz. What I'm looking for Stone Forsythe is to be somebody that Pete is comfortable with, somebody that Pete likes, and somebody that Pete can develop and feels like he can develop. Because even with Thayer Munford was a guy that was a backup that wasn't going to be effective at being a backup. He was a guy that they tried to develop, a bunch of different regimes tried to develop, and it didn't work out. I love the fact that they have a level of familiarity with this kid. I love the fact that this is a guy that Pete scouted and you know, now he's bringing him into a better situation. You know, players have routinely been able, when they're in the right situation, to turn their fortunes around in this league. And just because he has bad PFF numbers, this is a guy who hasn't played a whole hell of a lot. This is a guy that now is in a situation where, yo, Pete can come in and really, really, really commit to developing him. And you got a guy like, you know, a great tackle like Colton Miller here to help mentor this guy. You have so many guys on this organization. The Raiders are a little different in Seattle. We have so many legendary linemen and players that are just around the organization that, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's not these guys are coaches, but just having that open dialogue with a guy like a Lincoln Kennedy, having that open dialogue with guys that were legends in this game is invaluable. It is invaluable. So I'm here for it. Let's try to develop the kid and see what happens. And if it don't work out, guess what? He's not going to be long for the Raiders anyhow. Skipper was available and they went with familiarity. Nasty work, dude sucks. Well, look, Graf, I'm going to be honest with you. When you break all of this down, right, and when you look at it, the National Football League, like as in life, is all about relationships, familiarity, right? A lot of that for me, when you have a coach like this, I tend to lean on them getting their guys. Get your guys. Yeah, Skipper was available, but you know, if Skipper's available, I mean that's not like, you know, freaking Trent Williams is available. This is another guy that's a developmental guy. And just because they brought this guy in doesn't mean that they can't make another move for their lineman. This is a fluid situation, man. This is a fluid situation. It's a fluid situation. My guy Steve Becker's in a place to be, man. Nothing to say, just graceful for the show. Keep it up, brother Waits. Appreciate you, man. And Graf, you get the F out of here with all your crap. Dude, his buns, has been buns everywhere. What do you mean everywhere? He's been on 2 teams. What are you talking about? Graf, get the F up out of here with your crap. Let the guy, let Pete cook. What the F is wrong with you? You're coming here with your crap. You save this for the Graf and Wasted show, the Wasted the Graf show. Coming here throwing this kid under the bus, Graf. The F is wrong with you. Crazy work up in here. I never thought that you would be the one raining on everybody's parade in here. Graf, listen, Graf, I think you need to go to the gulags, Graf. What the F is wrong with you? It's gulags time. Nah, man. But listen, I understand, man. A lot of times, man, you definitely, for me, right? Like at this point in the season, and this is just me, right? If I'm really trying to move this thing forward, if I'm trying to win 10 games, I'm trying to bring in the best players possible. The problem with this Raider roster, and I think this is one of the reasons why, if I'm being serious, why Graf is feeling this way, why a lot of Raider fans are feeling this way, why some of you guys have kind of tempered your expectations for this season, is because we have a crap load of potential on this team, but we don't have a lot of definites. And I think some of us are looking for more definites now, because there's a hell of a lot of guys that got a lot of talent, man, that we're expecting to do something, right? Like guys like Dante Thornton and Jack Besh and all these young guys, man, Tonka and all of these guys. But we don't have a lot of guys on this roster that we can point to and say, yo, I know that guy's a player. And Graf, I get it. I understand where you're coming from, brother. Yes, salute to my guy Denzel Good, man. Let big Denzel get up there. But yeah, man. I mean that's how I see it, man. And this is the thing, Grant Case. As long as DJ Glaze stays upright, this should be the only time Forsythe is the topic of conversation. But see, that's not how the National Football League works. We know that. Guys get dinged up. Guys have to come in for a play or two, game or two. People injure ankles, all kinds of stuff, man. And you want to hope that the guys that you got in that locker room could at least do some of the stuff that Denzel Good did for us, or Khalif Barnes did for us, right? This is what we are used to and accustomed to in Raider Nation. We want guys that can come in and fill in and play some coherent snaps. My guy Mutation, with $10 slappy. You make so much sense, Wasted. I love your calm, well thought out approach to this team. By the way, your interview with JT this offseason was the best interview I've heard all year. Yo, man, I appreciate the love, man. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you, man. In a world where your brother Wasted has been stressed and going through a lot of crap, man, I really, really appreciate it, man. Really, really appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yo, Raider fam, Wasted, my pops is fighting cancer for the 3rd time. Could you please give him a shout out? His name is Albert. Also, we need a lockdown corner. Now, first of all, salute to Albert. Salute to your father, Raider Family 05, man. We're praying for him. We're praying that, the Lord put some hands on him and he can kick this whole situation with cancer and beat it. You know what I'm saying? Salute to him, man. Look, we are all in Raider Nation gonna put your father, Albert, in our prayers, my brother. And you said we also need a lockdown corner. Everybody needs a lockdown corner. Lockdown corners are not growing on trees, my brother. They're not growing on trees. But listen, I'm going to put a pin in this whole Stone Forsythe thing because we don't necessarily know whether he is an upgrade or a downgrade from Thayer Munford, right? But what we do know is just from a physical standpoint, from an athletic profile standpoint, this is a big 6'8", 6'9" guy, right? So just from a size perspective, he's an upgrade. And that's that. And that's how I'm going to leave it. And if Pete and him feel comfortable bringing this kid in, then let's see how it all works out. But for me, if you're asking me in my heart of hearts, I would rather them have tried to get somebody that's a little more proven, a little more definite, man. But let's give it a chance, right? Let's give it a chance, man. DeMarcus Webb, Wasted, would you start Amari Cooper in the slot if Myers is traded? Yes, 100%. Amari Cooper does some of his best work out of the slot. I mean, listen, bro, wide receiver in this game is like, and I think the way the Raiders are going to go about their business, all of these guys are going to get a commiserate amount of snaps. I don't think that you're going to see one of these wide receivers just sit the bench. And I think that's really, really, I haven't seen a Raider team like that in a long time. I haven't seen a Raider team like that since Cooper was here the first time. We had Andre Holmes and you had Crab and you had Coop and all of these guys. These guys were getting snaps. Bryce Butler and all these guys. They had a nice receiving core where, yeah, you had your 2-star guys with Coop and Crab, but those other guys got a lot of snaps. They got a lot of snaps, a lot of chance to make plays, and Carr spread the ball all around, right? And I think that's what you're going to get with Geno Smith. So I'm very, very hopeful for what they're going to do, man. But guys, look, I'm hoping if Pete goes into this whole, familiarity kick, that he brings in Shaquille Griffin, because look, I don't think at this point in the game we're going to find a lockdown corner just growing on trees, right? But what we do need is we need somebody that we're sure that can play some. The waiver wire stuff around the league is going crazy, man. I mean, Willie Lampkin getting signed from the Rams was crazy work, man. See, this is the thing, man. Like, I was seeing a breakdown of Jacorian Bennett, man, and Jacorian Bennett is balling. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a little worried that he's going to turn into a player. Like, that's one of our weakest positions, that we let this guy walk out of the building for what, right? And we let him walk out of the building. We are fleeced by the cutthroat monster, Howie freaking Roseman. And check it out, man. I just want to give you guys a little background. This has nothing to do with the Raiders, but it's crazy work what happens with Howie Roseman. Anytime you deal with Howie Roseman, it's like he's one of them guys, when you shake his hand, you got to go take a shower. The guy's a dirty, dirty business, man. In the NFL, there's an unwritten rule, right, that teams don't claim waived/injured players. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a courtesy so the original team can stash them on IR without losing them. 31 teams respected that with the Rams' Willie Lumpkin. But guess what? Howie Roseman did. He broke the tradition. He claimed them. And now the Eagles have increased their trenches by droves. And the thing is, Howie Roseman, doing that is crazy because, one, dude, their trenches are already supreme. They're already supreme. This guy is always doubling and tripling down on the trenches, man. The Raiders need to take notes. They really need to take notes. They are doubling. And this is part and parcel of what Graf was talking about. Yo, you got to go out there and get guys can freaking play, man. Whoa. What? Hold on. Hold the F on. What you mean? Hey, Spivey, don't you ever disrespect me like that. Nobody ever punks the great and powerful wasted. Ever. The F is wrong with you. The F up out of here. This was a great show, Spivey, Kevin Nash, and Shieldmore. You coming in with your crap. The F is wrong with you. Nobody ever does that to the great and powerful wasted time. Who the F you think you talking to? It's BS. Bodega Wasted, you know what you about to get? Back in the gulags for you. Watch your effing mouth. Yeah, I know. It's tripping you guys out. It's tripping me out too, man. The bill is crazy, man. The bill is crazy. I kind of like it, man. That's right. But listen, let's get into a few more things here, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. We spoke on the Amari Cooper stuff, right? We talked about, all the Micah Parsons stuff. I mean, there's been a lot going on here, man. Oh, we didn't talk about the edge rusher, the only waiver claim that we put in early today. Brennan Jackson, man. We claimed him off waivers from the Rams, man. Signed 17 players to the practice squad. We're going to go over that. But the Brennan Jackson move, man. Listen, Andy put out a little film breakdown. Listen, the kid, let me tell you something, man. Yo, the kid's got a little juice. The defensive end, he's a defensive end. They kind of play him like an outside linebacker with the Rams. The kid's got a lot of juice, man. He's got a lot of juice, right? And I think that this is a move that's going to improve this defense immediately, man. Jackson finished 2025's preseason with the second highest amount of sacks in the preseason game against the Chargers. Jackson also took on, the Chargers starting left tackle Joe Alt, and Andy put a little film out and kind of schooled him on a third down play in the red zone, man. The Chargers were threatening to score, and he came and he shut that drive down, man. And, let me tell you something, man. This kid's got a lot of potential, man. You know, what you got when you got a guy like Jackson and Tyree Wilson on the field, the Raiders are gonna have a field day with a lot of these guys. He is a guy that gets upfield. He has natural pass rushing acumen and ability, man. And this is something that the Raiders need. I love the fact that they're doubling down on this defense, man. They understand that, like I said earlier in this show, like the great Al Davis said, the quarterback must go down and the quarterback must go down hard, man. I love this move. What do you guys think about this Brennan Jackson move, guys? And it shows me too that they're doubling down and they're trying to hedge their bet with Kuntz. If there's a situation where Malcolm Kuntz doesn't kind of get back up to speed. When you have bigger guys or guys that are kind of depend on their wheels to make their money, they got to develop that confidence back after having a major knee injury. This might be Malcolm, from what I understand, this is Malcolm Kuntz's first big catastrophic injury, man. So he has to develop the confidence back, and I love it, man. And shout out to Andy for this film breakdown, man. That spin move was some Dwight Freeney-esque stuff. That's right, DeMarcus Webb. I love it, man. Shout out to Andy, man. I love it, man. Time for Kuntz to kick it up another gear this season. Yeah, I mean, this is Kuntz's money year. Kuntz is in a situation where, if he does not kick it up, he's going to cost himself a generational bag. This is his year to make his money. Make no mistake about that. And shout out to my guy Al with the $5 slap-a-rooney, man. Is our strongest formation 12 formation or slot formation? Al, it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. I mean, as of right now, just based off of what I know, your best player on offense will be on the field with Michael Mayer, who is in 12 personnel. That is a force to be reckoned with when you got two guys that are that good. It could be reminiscent of what the Patriots used to run back in the day with their 12 personnel with Rob Gronkowski and Aaron the psycho killer Hernandez. They had a hell of an offense with those guys. A hell of an offense. The Patriots were running it up that year. So we got to see. And make sure you guys pay that bar tab. Guys, what do you guys think about Rashee Rice getting suspended for 6 games? Do you think that Charles Snowden is next? Do you think that Charles Snowden is next, man? DeMarcus Webb says Snowden's looking at a 3 to 6 game suspension. He will definitely get snaps. I like our DE rotation. We don't necessarily know, but it looks like the league is starting to hand out that discipline, man. And that's why one of the reasons why this Jackson move is a tremendous move, right? This is a low risk, high reward move, man. These are the kind of moves that propel you forward. That bargain basement shopping in the National Football League, along with good drafting and frugal spending and free agency, puts you in position to always be in the conversation with every move that there is. The reason why we're in a position to even dream about being in the Micah Parsons business is because we've had guys that back to back that were frugal and they did the right thing by the Raiders when it came to the cap. So salute to Zeig, salute to Spy Tech, man, and salute to Coupon Tom. The fact that there were years in the past where the Raiders wouldn't even be able to entertain a move like a Micah Parsons move. The fact that we're even realistically in a conversation makes me very, very hopeful and happy, man. Makes me very, very hopeful and happy, man. Salute, man. Mr. Colbert, Greedy Vance, another player that's going to benefit us in the future. Yeah, he might. He might. I mean, he was a hell of a player when he's at USC, right? Hell of a player. Terry McCaffrey, man, salute to you, man. Got to go take care of some errands, brother. Hope you have a blessed day. Wasted. You and your family and the greater nation. See you next time. Yo, definitely, man. And listen, bro, if you want to check it out, this episode will be up on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. We are trying to increase our footprint over there at Apple Podcasts. I need for you guys to go on there and download as many episodes of Raider Nation Unlimited. Las Vegas Raider Nation Unlimited featuring Wasted Talent. It is on there, man. And see, this is the thing. I don't know if Charles Snowden is going to get as heavy of a hand as Rashidi Rice, because Ben Bad just said it right there. Rice should be in jail. It's a felony in Texas to leave the scene of an accident with injuries. You know, to be honest with you, I thought that Rice would have got longer than that. But we know how they do with the Chiefs. They take care of them, right? Yeah, I think you subscribe to the wrong podcast too, bro. But it's all good, man. Yeah, man. So, guys, listen, we're going to get on a few more things. We're over an hour here. Get wasted with your brother wasted, man. Tell a friend, don't tell a friend. Tell a friend to freaking tell a friend, man. So, guys, look, get your questions in. We're going to be rocking and rolling for another few minutes. You guys let me know what's going on here, man. Let me know what it's looking like. Let me know what it's looking like, what it's sounding like, and what it's feeling like, man. It's time to get some more Radio Nation Unlimited in. To all my audio listeners, man. Guys, I am going to have a new Google hotline for you guys to leave questions for the audio pod too, man. So this is going to be very, very exciting. Guys, let me ask you a question, man. We kind of glazed over the Jacoby Myers thing, man. You know, Jacoby Myers was a professional today. He showed up at camp. You know, you guys got to understand something. The whole trade demand to the media, that was an agent trying to leverage the last thing he could leverage, right? Requesting the trade. But, yo, you can request the trade, but the team does not have to acquiesce to you, right? And the Raiders fully intend for him to be the number one, you know, receiver at the start of the season. Now, this is the cool thing with Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers can't really do the whole Devontae Adams, oh, my hamstring hurts. You know what I mean? I have a scraped, you know, a scraped uterus or something like that. He can't do the Devontae Adams, Beyonce Adams crap, because this guy is playing for his football life. He is playing to put himself in a position to get the kind of money he's looking for. Now, this is the problem with Jacoby Myers, right? Jacoby Myers was our number one wide receiver, but he was not our number one weapon. Our number one weapon is Brock Bowers, right? And Jacoby Myers doesn't have a big history of being super productive. He had 4 touchdowns and a shade over 1,000 yards. That is not world-breaking stuff, right? So when we talk about, you know, the top wide receiver contracts, right? Let's I want to go over this. I'm going to share my screen, right? And I want to tell you guys like my thought process behind why I don't think the Raiders should. I know a lot of us want to cash Jacoby out because we are very, very we're an emotional fan base, right? We like Jacoby. I like Jacoby. I got a lot of respect for Jacoby Myers, right? But the thing with me is that I don't necessarily know if I want to cash him out like this. We're gonna go over this Jacoby Myers thing on the way out, guys. So look, we're gonna go over the top 20 wide receivers, right? Let's go over the top 20 wide receivers, right? Now, this is what Jacoby Myers is. Jacoby Myers at $11 million, right? Right now, Jacoby Myers is down here in Tutu Atwell country, right? But let's go up to the top 20 guys, right? Stephon Diggs is making $21 million. Devontae Adams is making 22. He's tied with Chris Godwin. So let me ask you guys a question, right? And right now, I'm gonna view this in StreamYard, right? Right there, Stephon Diggs, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley, Michael Pittman Jr., Nico Collins, Devontae Smith, DJ Moore. The start right there. Is Jacoby Myers to you guys better than any of those guys? I'm asking for a friend. Is Jacoby Myers better than any of those guys? And I've gone over this a couple of weeks ago. I just feel like I need to reiterate this. I feel like I need to reiterate this. Is Jacoby Myers better than any of those guys, right? You guys are saying no. I tend to agree with you. So let's scroll up, right? So we're at DJ Moore, right? So we're going to scroll up. Is Jacoby Myers better than Jalen Waddle? No. Is he better than T. Higgins? No. Is he better than Tyreek Hill and Brandon Ayuk when healthy? No. Is he better than Amon-Ra St. Brown? Hell no. Is he better than A.J. Brown? No. Is he better than Scary Terry McLaurin? No. Is he better than Garrett Wilson? Hell no. Is he better than DK Metcalf? No. Is he better than CeeDee Lamb? No. Is he better than Justin Jefferson? No. Is he better than Jamar Chase? No. Right? So if he's looking for $30 million, Tyreek Hill gets paid $30 million. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets paid $30 million, right? If he's looking for $25 million, Nico Collins is an infinitely better receiver than Jacoby Myers. Devontae Smith is a better receiver than him. Jalen Waddle's making $28 million. Calvin Ridley is a better receiver than Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers is overinflating his value. And I'm not into John Spych going and pissing away the Raiders cap money for a wide receiver when they just drafted 2 guys. Let's be for real here. Rusty Corte, it doesn't matter who his quarterback was. It does not matter, bro. Jacoby Myers has never been that kind of a guy. He's never been that guy, bro. Never, ever, ever. The guy, this is his first year ever having 1,000 yards. Come the F on, man. It's not apples and oranges. It's not. It's not apples and oranges. You act like you talking about Jacoby Myers was looked at as a number 2, number 3 receiver throughout his career. He was an afterthought in New England. He was an afterthought in New England, and you know it. And you got so many guys that are on this list that have had horrendous quarterback play, and they still produce. And if you really want to look at it, there are guys that make less than Jacoby right now, that make less than him, that are better than him, bro. Deebo Samuels, Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Judy. They don't make less than them, but they're better players. Malik Neighbors. Come on, bro. Drake London. These are guys that are going to get cashed out. These are the guys on rookie deals. But still, they're F up out of here, man. Even if this was his first 1K season, you have to butter his bread a little, wasted. No. What you have to do is you have to get rid of a guy a year early than a year too late. This is how winning teams do business. I don't like letting good players like Jacoby walk out of the building, but you have to let your youth take over sometimes. And I think this is a situation where if these guys show up and show out, this is the kind of contract that if you give Jacoby Myers $26 million, right? And say, for instance, Dante Thornton goes nuts. Say, for instance, Trey Tucker goes nuts. Say, for instance, Jack Bech is everything we think he can be. Now you got a guy that's possibly your fourth or third wide receiver making premium money on your roster. And now next year, you guys are going to be mother effing this whole deal. He's a well-balanced wide receiver, but this is what we've done a little bit here. I think what we have is we have a little Raider dysmorphia. These are the same people who are saying bring Hunter Renfrow back. These are the same people that every time an old Raider, whoever played for the Raiders is available, you guys tell them about bringing them back. And you guys just tend to forget about everything else that entails with bringing that guy back. We don't know what Jacoby's looking for, right? But what I'm going to be honest with you is that we already know what see, and this is the thing. We know what he's making now, right? We know what the market is, right? So even from just on a visceral level, if we know what the market is for Jacoby Myers, right? It's based off of Terry McLaurin. He got $33 million. Somewhere in between $33 million and where he is now is where he's trying to get paid. And when you got a guy like Devontae Smith that is a Super Bowl champion, a stud young wide receiver with the Eagles, right? that's making 21, 22 millions. It's organizational malpractice to pay Jacoby Myers commiserate to what that guy's making. He's a high-end number two receiver, man. Come on, wasted. An afterthought is nasty work. Myers is somewhere in the middle of the pack. But let's be easy on diminishing him, his paycheck to prove a point. No. We don't know what he's offered. And what I'm telling you is that, yo, for me, you can't tell me that you guys, even if you're playing fantasy football, are going to take him over most of the guys I named. He's high character, and I love that. But guess what? High character doesn't get you paid $27 million. No drops one time in his career. Listen, he's a low 20s receiver. And if it doesn't pan out, you guys are going to be mother effing this deal from hell to high water. You guys got to understand something. The contract, the business of football is always going to take precedent. It is. And you guys have to look down the line. Don't you realize that you have drafted a generational talent in Brock Bowers? And he's going to have to get paid. Don't you realize that you just drafted an Ashton Genty? And we don't want to go through what we went through with Josh Jacobs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I mean, Yeti Strength hit it on the head. The 26th ranked wide receiver last year, meaning he's in the bottom tier of all-star and wide receivers. That doesn't equate to top 15 pay. It doesn't. Rated felon. I hope he leaves. I hope so. So fans will be looking stupid like with Jake. No. How the fans looking stupid? The fans ain't looking stupid. Josh Jacobs making his money. And the Raiders just drafted a guy that looks like he could be an upgrade. How the hell are the Raider fans looking stupid? Get the F up out of here with that crap. Yo, Tessier or Tisa. High character means you help old ladies across the street. The NFL is a business, man. The NFL is a business, and you got to remember that. Andy Gonzalez, man. 1,027 yards in a 17-game season is 60 yards average per game, not worth $25 million. Shout out to Andrew Gonzalez, the $5 holler, man. James Williams, I get what you're saying, but he has not put anything out publicly. People are mad at. We're not mad at him, bro. We ain't mad at him. Yo, you can't say he didn't put anything out publicly because he is the one who demanded a freaking trade. He demanded a trade. He publicly demanded a trade, and we're reacting to that. Who does that? Guys who don't get targeted. Like, if he would have got targeted more, because you got to realize most of the season Devontae was here, right? If he got targeted more, he might have had a drop. But, I mean, great, he didn't have a drop, whatever. Like, to me, I'd rather him have 5 drops and have 15, 16 touchdowns and 1,700 yards. That's just me, though. Yo, Estevan Mendoza. Give him about 18 million guaranteed, have incentives for the rest. If he performs, he gets the extra money. And that, to me, is thinking with the left side of your brain. And I'm going to be honest with you, Estevan, bro, that is a let. By God, I gotta let him cook, man. I love it. I love it, man. But guys, look, the Raiders have done a great job cleaning up the cap, and they're not going to throw big money at a mid receiver. And this is the kind of stuff that we used to do. We're not doing it anymore. And guys, you got to get on board with this, get with it, or get lost, man. Get on board, get with it, or get lost. Halo, the wasted word of the day has not been decided yet. But stay tuned, my man. Stay tuned, Halo. Oh, my gosh. Stay tuned, man. Stay effing tuned. But again, we're throwing around numbers that are not confirmed. It's a slippery slope. If they don't want to sign him, cool. But folks are slandering the ish out of the guy. I hope it works out. DeMarcus, we're not slandering the guy. Having a healthy conversation about what we feel like is the fair market value for him is not slander. It's not conjecture. We're going off of raw numbers. We're going off of players that are in the league that are currently making a certain amount of money. And what we know is that we know how much he is making. And we know that he wants a raise. And no matter what that number is, if the Raiders aren't willing to pay him for whatever reason, and he walked away from the bargaining table and they weren't able to get a deal done, then it is what it is. And my thing is this. I understand the Raiders being uncomfortable with that number from the fact that they drafted 2 young receivers that they want to see develop, from the fact that they went out there and they brought in Amari Cooper for next to nothing, for the fact that this is the first year in their rebuilding process and they don't have to commit to a player that they never brought here. But guys, listen, my chest is getting tight. I got to go take a breathing treatment, guys. Love all of y'all, man. My guy, OSI Raider. Y'all act like it's y'all money. You didn't mind overpaying for Devontae. No, because Devontae Adams is a better player. Devontae Adams is going to go to Hall of Fame when it's all said and done. Like him, love him, dislike him. And I wasn't in favor of that. I wasn't in favor. I was one of the guys saying, yo, listen, you know what? The only way I'm in favor, because I didn't want them to trade their first round pick. I hate trading the first round pick. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm so over the Raiders trading their first round pick of the years at the end of Al's life. I hate it. I don't want them to ever trade their first round pick. And I'm going to be honest with you. When they got Devontae, I got warmed up to it because I said, listen, yo, Devontae will put the Carr thing to bed. I don't want to hear this Carr stuff. They go get his guy and Carr still sucks. They get both of them the F up out of here. And that's what happened. So look, Devontae Adams and going and willingly paying Devontae Adams, he deserves that. He deserves that. Don't ever forget that. But the Raiders are finally being smart, like my man Halo said. And listen, man, the wasted word of today is foresight. That's right. Foresight. And that goes along with our guy Stone Forsythe. The Raiders having the foresight to do what's right down the line and planning for these younger guys that they have on the roster that are looking like stud players. Foresight, the wasted word of the day, guys. Yo, appreciate you guys, man. Love all of you guys. I'm going to go take a breathing treatment, go take my asthma pump. My chest is getting tight, man. We're pulling the train into the train station. This has been a phenomenal episode, man. Love every single one of you guys. You guys have a terrific day, man. We are out of here, man. And you guys know something, man. We're going to be rocking all week, man. If over 1,000 of you guys that are in here, if this is your first time in here, don't make it your last. Go hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, pay your bar tabs. We are out of here, y'all. We love every single one of y'all. We are going to be bringing Raider Nation the gospel as we always do, man. Peace.